Scary.
We are going to the match right now, and as you can see, we've got Alan Pennington with Junkrander on the left, Dillon Gill with John on the right. That is a G. See, that's a G. His writing is not a G.
Dillon Gill.
No. But so we're seeing the players. It seems like someone is mulliganing. It feels like Alan might be going down to 6.
Yep, at least.
Yep, at least 6, probably 5 now. That has to be a good indication for Dillon for game 1, especially.
Yeah.
He doesn't quite know it yet, but this is not a good game 1 for him. Anything spicy? I do see 2 Orzhov Charms over here in Alan's main deck.
Alan went with 2 Orzhov Charms in the main deck to get a piece of removal. His sideboard, mostly normal. He has the 6 Times in Abrupt Decay as we discussed there. He has trimmed his Lingering Souls down to 2. I know that that's not that unconventional, but he has like 1 Bullet Lotleth Troll in the main deck and 1 Bullet Deathrite Shaman. So those are interesting cards to run 1 of. I don't mind 1 Deathrite Shaman. I could see, and I raw dog that 1. It's probably pretty sweet most of the time, but Lotleth Troll's peculiar.
I can see the Lotleth Troll in those games where you just get, Miracle Bonfire to get both of his 1-drops right out of the gates. That
he only got 1,
yeah. Sorry, I was catching up.
He decayed the first one, and then a Bonfire got the second one, but that's still awkward.
Yeah, this is setting up to be a rough hand, especially if Alan doesn't have a 3rd. Nope. And that is going to leave him with 1 land, a bunch of big spells, another Miracle Bonfire not needed. But if that limits Alan's top decks, he has that
more
mulch.
mana guys are just dead.
Is that mulch? But here comes a Thragtusk. This is going to put pressure on Alan, and he needs to perform. So many games have come down to just not consistently getting there.
Yep. Standard's tough. You stumble, you'll get trounced.
Yep.
Whether it's Burning Tree Emissary or just an opponent who has a bunch of removal who can keep up with you once they get a little bit ahead and just cut you off at the pass.
All right, so we do see lands, but a lot of them, obviously, since he's missed so many land drops. But it's not going to help really unless he gets to discard an Unbearer Rights and an Angel. But as you can see, we have a Crater Hoof, we have an Angel, a lot of heavy cards in his hand, and he's really behind. He did not find a Lingering Souls, so I guess that Center Healer next turn is going to help out. Yeah, Cavern was named on Angel since he doesn't need to worry about counterspells in the matchup, and he already has green for his Thragtusks.
Yep, it's interesting he decided to pitch the Crater Hoof rather than the Angel of Serenity. Obviously, like he doesn't have a way to get the Angel of Serenity back right now, but
it would help.
He might find one over the next couple of turns, and he'd much rather turn 5 an Angel of Serenity through Unbearer Rights than a Crater Hoof Behemoth.
That is exactly
when he's falling this far behind.
Yeah, so here we go. We're going to take 2, play a Center Healer, gain 3, so he's netting 1 life for the turn, and he's got a 3/3 body for that Thragtusk. Dillon, if he draws another land, he has the option of Bonfiring for 3 just to take care of that Center Healer and be the most expensive Searing Spear on the planet.
Yep. I believe he also has a pair of Rakdos' returns in his hand, if I'm not mistaken. No, only 1. So he can also use that as effectively a fireball in this matchup. He may be using it now, just assuming he knows Alan would have to peel a land. No, he goes with Bonfire. Okay.
Oh yeah, this puts him on a 1-turn
This
clock.
does put him on a 1-turn clock as well with the return.
And now, yeah, the Rakdos return is lethal.
Yep. The risk of returning on the previous turn, which I was going to say, was if Alan has, Unbearer Rights Fatty, then all he has to do is peel a land, and he can actually hop right back in the game.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have to peel a land because he has 7 cards in hand, or 6 at that time.
Oh yeah, sorry.
And Dillon knows he has an extra land.
Fair enough. So he would just be cold off to Unbearer Rights plus a big guy.
But the kind of slow roll. Let's make him tap out first. Deal with the Thragtusk.
Yep. I mean, this is just like, stock correct play.
Yes, this is the perfect scenario. That's what we're supposed to do. You should be like, mistriggered. Darn. Rakdos return.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dillon takes that game. Deals 5 damage to the face. Doesn't even have to discard. Alan knows the game is over.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and move to sideboards. Alan Pennington on Junk Reanimator. I guess I'll let you cover this one, as you're a little more experienced with Junk than I am.
You can take Junk side. All right, so the big thing in this matchup for a Junk player to be concerned about is making sure that the mid-game is okay for them. They do not want to get run over. The cards that you get run over by are Rakdos Return, Slaughter Games, and Bonfire. So you have to have this delicate, you're in a delicate situation where you can't overinvest on mana acceleration, but you also have to play things quick. So I like shaving like an Unbearer Rights and like an Angel, and I don't even like Crater Hill Behemoth in this matchup because anytime your opponent gets a ground seal, you have a very high fail rate. And just having cards that are uncastable. So what I like to do is I like to bring Acidic Slimes in, Obzidots, Sever the Bloodlines. These cards have an immediate impact on the game. They deal with the troublesome cards like Olivia and Huntmaster of the Fells, and allow you to have the time to actually, quote-unquote, miracle your big fatties.
Yeah. Dillon has access to a lot of options post-board. He can get a 3rd Ground Seal into his deck. He can bring in up to 3 Slaughter Games. He has Acidic Slimes and an additional Rakdos' Return if he wants one. I'm not sure if you want to go to 3, but the 2 Acidic Slimes are obviously a big game. Really, post-board, every Jund player is trying to do the same thing in every matchup, which is configure their deck to be presenting the precise, correct answers to their opponent's game plan while forwarding their own. So Dillon's really just going to want to attack his Junk Reanimator opponent on multiple angles and make all of them bad. He wants to make it hard to get a guy out of the graveyard. He wants to make it hard to cast a guy from the hand. He wants to make it tough to win a Thragtusk fight with Restoration Angels because he doesn't have access to those. He'll be leaning on Olivia Voldaren to close out those situations, and Thundermaw Hellkites, which he also has in the main deck, can deal a lot of damage. In conjunction with Rakdos' Return, he can just burn the opponent out, even through a card like Angel of Serenity.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, I think his list seems reasonably well suited to the matchup post-board, once he can cut the cards he doesn't want.
I actually think Jund is the only deck in the format right now that's uniformed. Also Blitz. Blitz and Jund are uniform. They have figured out the best versions of them.
Sure.
All the other decks are kind of all over the place for how consistent they are.
Alan Pennington is from Tampa, I believe, Florida player. Hangs out, I know, at the Game Academy down there, which is a company that does a lot of work in Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is the game Alan primarily played. He's kind of transitioned into Magic over the past couple of years. But if you're familiar with his name, you might know him as, I know he writes, or at least did write, Yu-Gi-Oh! Articles, played in the high-level Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments, so transitioning across games. He's
and transitioning well. He's in his winning in.
He's playing a winning in for top 8. I know he did okay yesterday as well. He's one of a few players from that group who are making the same call. Michael Lux also a Tampa area Yu-Gi-Oh!
I just keep forgetting that you're Floridian, and you know.
To be fair, I would know a lot of this stuff even if I wasn't. I keep up, man. I'm on the internets.
Where are we?
Where are we?
Yeah, I don't keep up with anything. I just go where people tell me to.
We're in the city next to Orlando.
All right. Well, for SCG Orlando, we're here in round 7. Dillon is up a game, can taste the top 8, clinch his invitational qualification, which if he wants to, it's a pretty quick or pretty short distance to go to Atlanta for next weekend's invitational and open series.
It's almost like we planned it that way on purpose.
Mastermind Pete Heflin. But yeah, next weekend is the Atlanta Open featuring the Invitational. I'll be playing the Invitational and the Open probably.
Bold prediction. Prediction.
All right. Well, the deck with the Accelerator is not the one you would think of. Jund is actually the one out of the gates first. That's really good if you're in the Jund position, especially since Alan's quote-unquote plan B is to LD him, which he is doing. So.
Yep. Turn 2 Orzhov Charm kills Arbor Elf. That sets Dillon back effectively a land.
Not much.
He has an Acidic Slime in his hand as well.
And the problem with
use the play there.
It is, but the problem with doing this now is wasting that Orzhov Charm is because of that Farseek, there is going to be an Olivia. And I have seen many people kill the acceleration out of Jump, but I don't even think that's how you fight them.
Yeah.
You have to fight their big spells because they will come down. You're not fast enough as a Junk player to get out there. Like, on turn 3, your opponent's not dead.
Right. I think that there are maybe Junk hands where that kind of pressure can pay off, but I don't think Alan has one of them. You know, his actions are coming down on, like, turn 5. Maybe he draws, like, a 4-drop, but, like, that's the best he can muster. So I agree that maybe moving towards a longer game, holding onto the Orzhov Charm might have paid off better.
All right, well, there is Big Daddy Obzidot with an Unbearer Rights.
Oh, this will create some action, put pressure on Dillon that Olivia can't necessarily answer all on her own.
I'm pretty sure that if I were in Ellen's shoes, I would not take the Obzidot or the Unbearer Rights. That's probably what I want to do.
I would definitely not take the Unbearer Rights.
Well, sorry. Excuse me.
Couldn't resist. Yeah, I think that he takes the Obzidot. I agree. I would want to just Unbearer Rights Obzidot next turn. He's going to have to go ahead and play one of his lands here. He's got an
he might want to use the Thragtusk to protect against Huntmaster, but that Olivia is going to make things a little bit more awkward.
Yeah. Obsidat also just like, I mean, the life gained and the pressure it creates is so significant compared to Thragtusks. When your opponent has Thragtusk, they can just match him. Whereas Obsidat is actually better.
It's the better first play.
Right.
So now there's an Olivia on the board, and being down a game against Jund with an active Olivia, I don't see any removal in Alan's hand. I don't know if he did bring in that Sever the Bloodline, but he's going to hope he did once that dropped. And just bringing back a Thragtusk does not feel powerful enough against Jund. Jund, I feel, has played against a Thragtusk before and beaten it.
You think?
I'm pretty sure that Jund is the deck that brings multiple spares. I don't even know how they carry all of them.
They do. Well, that Umbrella Rights on turn 4 was timed well, as Dillon, it appears, just drew a Ground Seal. Looks like he's going to go ahead and play it.
Great.
Draw. Imagine he'll just, maybe cast a Farseek, maybe save the ping to turn Thragtusk into a vampire and then hope to steal on the next turn. Nah, he's just going to Farseek.
He's just going to Farseek. I don't mind this play. I think what you want to do, because you know your opponent has that Obsidian in his hand, is you want to get to 7 immediately.
Yeah, so that you can ping and steal if he
So
casts.
next turn when it comes back, you can take it. Never RFG it. Never exile it, because if that happens, it's not coming back to you.
No, it's not.
That Restoration Angel is going to make things a little spicy.
It's definitely an interesting card, but the problem is that Dillon can very easily put the read on Restoration Angel when Alan passes.
How? Because you're gonna. Dillon's entire strategy right now is to get 7 mana to steal that Obsidian.
Oh, I understand that.
If that's the case, he can't play around it. He's gonna say go. He's gonna have to invest that mana.
Oh no, like he's definitely gonna play his mana, but the thing is, when Alan just passes turn here, like Dillon has to just know there's a Restoration Angel, so Alan can't really afford to do that. Like, there's no way that, realistically, Alan's going to be trying to just race an Olivia with a Thragtusk all by itself.
No. What I'm saying is, so Alan is going to play Obsidian. Pass the turn with flicking it out. Dillon, most likely, is going to pass with 7 mana open, trying to steal it during Alan's turn, and Alan's going to flick it out. Sure. Negating an entire turn of Dillon's mana.
All right, that's fair.
And especially since Dillon is at such a low life total, he
now,
will...
I don't know. I mean, he can't, if he does that, if he blinks the Restoration Angel, then that'll keep the Obsidian in play, right? On the next turn, so then Dillon just untaps and steals it again. I mean, he might do it in combat, I don't know. I mean, he's not going to be able to attack with this, and he is going to threaten to make it a 6/6, so we might see something interesting happen here. Yeah, if he does have a 7 lane, okay, that's worth checking. But can you shock yourself here? Yeah. At 9, it's pretty tough. Facing the Obsidian, it's dangerous. He does shock himself, goes to 7. Yeah, I'm pretty sure to save his Olivia, I bet he's going to... Whoa. Yeah, this is what he's going to do. He's going to steal one of the creatures before combat and try to block with it. So this is going to drop to 5, and now the game is over. Yeah, now he's actually just dead to the Restoration Angel. For everyone back at home, Dillon had a good line, but he can't play around Restoration because it's really hard to... with this pressure. So he is going to try to steal Obsidian or Thragtusk. Preferably, I would want to steal Thragtusk to get the Beast, and block the Obsidian with it, and then play a Thragtusk of his own. But in response, he's going to take the Obsidian. He's going to go to steal it. Restoration Angel is going to say no, and the game is over. Yep. Alan gets Dillon there. A costly shock land. To be sure for Dillon there. Well, but then again, the Obsidian's going to flicker out. So I guess he did have Thragtusk in hand. Yeah, it's possible. Like, obviously, that's still tricky. But Dillon took a little bit too much damage there, a little too early. And so if you were in Dillon's position, would you have went for that play, or would you have played it safe and played the Thragtusk? I probably would have played it safe and played the Thragtusk, because that gives me the ping anyway. Well, if I'm going to take the Thragtusk. And if I'm not, then. I mean, like, once I gain 5, I think the shocking myself is fine. I can ping the Thragtusk during his turn. That lets me set up the 5 mana a little easier. Yeah. All right. So a game that looked in control from Dillon. Also, I assumed that the Orzo Charm was a bad play, but he was able to power through an Olivia, something that I rarely see. Yep. So that just shows the power of the card Obsidian. Something that we kind of got distracted by all the other shiny toys of the set. Has been one of the best cards from there, and I do think Nicholas Spagnola is going to win Mythic Ticket with that pick. Gosh, don't say that. You're jinxing me. I actually, obviously, Alan took down that game. I agree that I would prefer holding the Orzhov Charm for the Olivia. Like, think how easy that game would have been if Olivia died, Dillon's only action was a Thragtusk, and Alan's Obsidian, turn 4ing it, or even just going for the turn 5 a little safer. Both of those lines just trump Thragtusk. They trump most of the things Jund is doing. Olivia's really the big threat. Yeah. Especially in the post-boarding games. She's how Jund wants to try and win the game.
So please check your pocket, make sure that you're going to be able to go home today.
All right. With Jund on the play, though, that is definitely where he wants to be.
Also,
Yeah.
we are
The
just trying to
bonfires
wrap up the
are
last
faster
two
to deal
events.
with the pilgrims before they
One
get
more
to tap.
person for a standard winner box.
Ground
Two
still
more
has some
people for
higher
that
impact
last
since it's
legacy winner
not
box.
breaking up
Come
his
on up and
curve
see
as
Kelly
much.
right on the right-hand side
And
of
since
the
you are the
screen.
reactive deck, when you do get to do proactive things like cast turn 3 Huntmaster, it is very difficult for Jund to just beat that early disruption into the powerful spells that Jund can provide.
Yeah, if you can just get a little bit ahead and then start answering your opponent from there on out, you get a lot of value, you know, getting in 2 to 4 damage just here and there.
Yep.
And eventually your opponent just has to shift to defense instead of being able to stay proactive. That's, you know, that's the entire definition of tempo and initiative.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so powerful and influential.
Alright, so as these players take a good look at their hands, the tension has to be building. I mean, they're playing for their top 8, and I know when I'm in this position, I am hungry. I want to win.
If you guys have seen Brad hungry, then you know that's...
It is scary.
You don't want to be between him and the dish.
No. Many a foe has tried. And
most on the Open Series have been
and they've
very
been very successful, yeah. Arbor Elf turn 1 for Dillon is matched by the same thing.
Dun 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 dun. Dillon on the play, obviously his Arbor Elf a little better because he can use it to remove his opponents. And he will.
For 1. Alright, Alan has not corrected his life total. He'll probably be asked to. Alright, Temple Garden tapped. Very slow hand for Alan.
Let's see what else we got in there. I see, I think a Decay and a 6 line, maybe a Sever the Bloodline.
Yeah, he does have some removal, which is good, but hopefully Dillon is not on the same plan as other Jund players that we've seen that we're going to Rakdos Return here.
Yeah, Rakdos Return is real good once you can lock out the graveyard. Sends for 1 with that Arbor Elf. And it looks like he's just got a Slaughter Games and a bunch of removal.
Curious why he won Slaughter Games. Just to do it. I mean, what's that mana gonna do?
Yeah,
or maybe
I'm not
he wants
sure.
more information.
Yeah, the awkward thing is, you know, you're not gonna gain a lot. I mean, this mulch, you know, put some cards in the graveyard or whatever, but Slaughter Games would remove them anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. I don't know if that point of damage was worth the 3 mana we lost, as far as our efficiency goes.
Especially once we start top decking some spells, we might have to get a little reactive. I feel like a card like Slaughter Games is something we just have to use.
Can use it now.
We'll find out what he names. If I was in his position, I'd probably name Unbearer Rights. You could name Angel Serenity, but getting the Unbearer Rights maybe lets you top deck your Rakdos Returns. Angel Serenity.
He clearly didn't name Unburial Rights, would have, you know, snapped that one in the hand. I agree that I would name Unburial Rights. I don't have access to a ground seal or something to prevent those shenanigans. And it's not just Angel of Serenity that's the problem. The card advantage accrued by Mulch and Grizzly Salvage extending your graveyard, hand into your graveyard.
And the thing is
still good.
We don't have an Angel of Serenity coming down for 4 more turns, and there's nothing but reactive spells in Dillon's hand. So if Alan does have an Unburial Rights in his hand, he's going to start chaining those Thragtusk that and just move into the yard.
Even something as simple as, you know, Unburial Rights on Thragtusk, Acidic Slime, it dies, Unburial Rights it. These will put Alan ahead. They won't put him as far ahead as an Angel Serenity, of course, but like they'll put him far enough.
Alright, digging through, how many angels did he find?
He's found 3 so far. He's double checking and perhaps also taking a moment to make sure he sees how Alan actually sideboarded for the game. Very, very relevant information. There is, I suppose, some risk. Maybe Dillon has played against junk opponents who side out on Unburial Rights. Maybe that was his concern. But I still think in this particular situation, I would probably have gone for the Unburial Rights.
Yeah. Alright, well, with that, Alan is dropping down to 15, not under any pressure. Was there a cut on the deck? Because it's really funny that the top card of his library when he was searching was that vault. Does he have 2?
No.
I'm looking. No, just 1 vault. So it was on the top, and then it was on the top again.
Yeah, could have been a light shuffle.
Just
I don't
random.
know. It certainly happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Have you ever on Moto, you know, you ponder, you shuffle, and it's just always the card that you put back?
I know, right?
I feel like that happens a lot.
But then I just realized that I
saying,
misclicked and said keep. Alright, so Huntmaster off the top for Dillon is going to give him some pressure. That's really good.
That's a very good card.
Alan is just about to start doing the Unburial Rights train, and when that happens, Huntmaster just gets dwarfed immediately.
Yeah.
It's a very good card against early Avacyn's Pilgrims and Arbor Elves, but not great against late game Obsidots, Restoration Angels, and Thragtusks.
Yeah, Alan's hand seems pretty well suited to his situation. He has, pretty powerful spells. He doesn't have to worry about dying to an Olivia because he has Sever. He still has Crater Hoof Behemoth.
Oof.
There it is.
There it was. And it wasn't there for that long.
Well, yeah, I think I like Alan's spot here. He's going to Barrow Rights this Thragtusk. It's going to start making guys.
Yeah.
Assuming it dies at some point, he'll get more value out of flashbacking it.
I mean, if it doesn't die, he gets
the Restoration Angel. Exactly. So either way, he's going to be able to get 3 to 4 creatures on the board over the next couple turns, which will make his Crater Hoof Behemoth very, very lethal.
Yep. And in hand, we drew another Huntmaster of the Fells, but neither player is out of gas, and there's no way that Dillon's going to be able to try to flip both those Huntmasters and stay effective. If he does play it, he gets the 2-for-1 with that Sever that he knows about.
Yep.
Dillon's options are very limited at this moment.
Yeah, flip here is not particularly useful to him. He really just has to make his guy.
No, he has to, he either has to play a removal spell, but then that Thragtusk just comes back again. So he is just, making it a guy does protect yourself from the attack from Thragtusk for a turn, because the 2 damage lets it trade with the Wolf.
Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe Dillon's plan is to try and double flip the Huntmaster, just keep Thragtusk off his back, play the long game, accrue as much advantage as he can.
He has to, but he's also he doesn't have much of a game plan, because if he plays Huntmaster, they just get 2-for-1.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he can play the Huntmaster. I think he has he's gonna slip Dreadbore or slip. That's his other card, right?
It's Dreadbore, yeah, but that's even difficult to do. I think you just have to hope to draw other spells. He just needs time, and the only way to get time is to stop that Thragtusk from attacking.
Sure. Well, no, he can do that now with the slip.
Well, you still won't attack because of the Wolf.
Yeah, but I imagine Alan's probably considering the flashback on Barrow Rights Resto Angel that we described. He mulches for this land, now he can just play this land and make that play. And if I were Alan, I feel like that's the play I would make here.
Yeah, keep the pressure on.
Sever on Ravager of the Fells doesn't feel very impressive. A Restoration Angel lets me keep pressure. I net a Beast token at a minimum and a 3/4 flyer.
But if you play 2 spells, then you flip that Ravager too on your own, netting your opponent a big advantage. So I could see a Sever on the Ravager.
You could have also not mulched to avoid that problem.
No, you totally mulch, because then you might have hit a Crater Hoof.
Totally mulch. You already have a Crater. Oh, I guess, yeah, that's fair. Well, you're 1 outing for that, right?
Hoof.
Some people live such a life.
All right, well, he's taking your line, flashing back on Barrow Rights, and deciding either if he's going to take down one of those red sources or Restoration. So Restoration is going to target Thragtusk. In response, we're going to see Tragic Slip. You read it up, they knock it down. And this is also going to flip that Huntmaster if Dillon sees it. I see a premium join membership. It's probably my token, but they're not going to let him keep it. Dead. All right, so just past the turn. Dillon misses trigger.
Yep.
And draws a land. He's just going to Dreadbore that Restoration Angel, get in with the Ravager. Maybe he missed it on purpose. All right, so he's going to play it now because
This is actually really awkward.
This is awkward because, he's telling him it's flipped, yeah.
Yeah, it's a potential abuse of the trigger rules, but within a turn, I believe he can point out, you were supposed to do this.
Well, no, he's supposed to do it both turns. 2 spells have been played both turns. Now, I definitely feel like
yeah, you're right, yep.
Dillon missing that is a little suspicious, but...
Yeah, he did miss it twice when he knew his opponent had to sever the bloodline, which is a little awkward, but...
And now it's untapped, too.
Oh, well, yeah, that should be corrected.
Yeah.
One of the Huntmasters is, in fact, tapped.
Well, both of them are, in fact, dead.
Yes. They have lost their bloodlines. There will be no more little Huntmasters.
All right, so Alan's going to have to pass, but he does have a 3/3 against those 3/2/2, so if no bonfire at the top, I call it every time.
Dynamite.
All right, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for the turn. That drops Alan 2/2.
He wants to get the one in with the Arbor Elf attack instead of with the bonfire. Too.
I always
I like that.
add the mana. I attack with Arbor Elf. I add mana with Avid's Program, so I don't have to tap the force.
Sure. The Moto shortcuts.
Yeah.
I like letting the elves get their bid in. You know, they don't get to deal that much damage. I feel like letting them enter the red zone is
sure, and they're
nice.
used to casting spells.
Yep. So Alan has, suddenly fallen pretty far behind here. He can flashback Sever to kill all of those wolves, obviously. Yep. And then go to 1 from an attack from Arbor Elf, but that's pretty risky.
7 mana kills off those, and he's at 1. And with an elf, we're back in it, boys. All right, all we have to do is dodge any more direct damage off the top of Dillon's deck. I'm not going to say the card because he'll draw it if I do.
He is looking for an additional copy of A Bonfire of the Damned.
You can say that, that's okay.
He has already played 2. He has 1 left in his deck.
I would like to know how many times I said if he top decks that card, and then they do. It's at least 5 times this weekend.
His other outs for an instant kill also include Rakdos' returns. He has 2 to 3 of them. Well, I should say 0 to 3 of them in his deck. Kessig Wolfrun is out to kill him.
We have to fade a lot of options.
Olivia Voldaren doesn't straight up kill him, but pretty close. And Thunder Mahokai is the death.
Okay. So many ways to finish this game off immediately. Attack block has to happen. Alan stays at 2. Doesn't want to just go down to 1 life point, and he wants to get the creature off the board in case a Kessig Wolfrun does come off the top. I would not have attacked if I was Dillon because that Kessig Wolfrun is a viable threat.
He just lost 2 outs.
Yeah. And so now, I think what Alan is trying to do now is trying to find some of those lingering souls with this mulch, set up that Crater Hoof, maybe more on Bearer Rights, just finds a couple lands.
A Rights for a Thragtusk would put him in a much safer position.
Yes. With missing that, he's just going to have to put something on the board, and it's just going to be an Acidic Slime. Next turn he's going to be able to attack for 11 damage with that Crater Hoof if he doesn't draw anything else.
Sure.
And put his opponent on a 4-turn clock.
He also has a Vault of the Archangel in his hand, so if he just manages to survive long enough to untap after playing Crater Hoof Behemoth, he'll be able to gain 7 life, again putting him pretty much out of the danger zone for most of Dillon's draws.
So if you were Alan, would you have just tried to do that immediately, get that hoof into play?
Yeah, that was the play I was considering. Maybe just play hoof, attack for 6, and then untap.
Lifelink, yeah.
Lifelink, gain 5, and play an Acidic Slime then.
Mm-hmm. Especially since you were going to go up to 10 mana this turn, so then you can...
yeah, that's like the exact perfect timing. It optimizes our mana efficiency significantly better.
Well, we do get to play an Avid's Program, changing that 11 potential damage into 13.
Yep. Alan, he feels like this game's coming right back within his reach. He's going to be very meticulous from this point on. He doesn't want to accidentally do something wrong and wind up dying. This is one of those tense spots where you really want to lock your opponent out of just every possible out that you can, but I don't think he can do all of them this turn, obviously. He's likely debating how relevant a Vault of the Archangel for 2 would be, and we know, pretty irrelevant.
Yes, you're going to want a hoof. You don't need hoof to be lethal, you just need hoof to exist.
Yeah, and I think Alan has arrived at the exact same conclusion. There it is.
What is? Hoof!
Crater Hoof Behemoth.
Crater Hoof Behemoth coming in.
Crater Hoof Behemoth Jr. Well, this puts Dillon in a tight spot, and he doesn't even know that Vault of the Archangel's coming, so could be rough.
Not
Alan
going to show it to him
correctly
yet.
hiding it. Yep.
Well, I mean, if your opponent has 2
really
damages,
matter,
it's not going to change anything.
These are good habits to get into. Like, you want to just play correctly and tight all the time.
All right, that's the match. Alan takes it after it seemed like Dillon had it firmly in his grasp. The second Huntmaster might have been a little bit greedy.
Yeah, maybe.
Missing both Huntmaster triggers, it seems awkward, but it was able to.
Yeah, really, the Sever the Bloodline is what pulled Alan back into that game.
Yes,
it effectively dealt with